Well, good morning to you. We meet again. And I've really been thinking a lot about this because here I am talking to you, exploring this dimension of I've been calling it the healing journey. But as I realize, it's this thing that I'm doing here with you is actually helping me expand, helping me grow. And sometimes I approach this, and every time I sit down with it, I'm like, oh, what am I doing? So boring. You know what I mean? All of my insecurities arise up, And at the same time, I realize that the message is in the tone. The message is, it's a being thing. And so it's all about presence, And so here I am. It's a Wednesday morning. Look at me. I'm not hungover, but I was having some drinks with a friend of mine last night, and so I'm not at my energetic best, and yet this too has got value. This too is life because it's a choice that I'm making, and so I'm going to talk about some of the choices that I'm making these days. Like for example, I met a friend of mine last night. We had a couple of drinks at a local bar, and I have to say that being someone who feels a strong energy pull of my Gaelicness, of my Celticness. I just happen to love the pub. I just happen to love a social place. We're going to have a few drinks with a friend or friends, It's just something I like to do. And also at the same time, it's when you love someone and you got a relationship that's, I don't know, it's just good, right? You have to make time for it. You have to make time and space for it. You have to in life. You got to make time and space for the things that are important. Otherwise, you get caught up, lose track of the things, and then they don't exist for you anymore, and you wonder what happened. I can remember when I was much younger. Like when I was a kid, all I did was like play around with my friends and play sports, be in nature. These are the things that I did, co-opted in, watching TV and stuff as well. But like, if I think about the things that really nourished me and were really important, it was these activities, and being the work I do in the field now is very much team orientated, which I just love, I just love to work in a team and be in a team, and we're pursuing goals together, And when I was younger, team play meant us versus them. And so I had a really strong sense of the enemy, as it were, and I mean, that stimulated the warrior part of me, and not always the nice part of me, but I've learned that I need an avenue for that, And so one thing that I sort of regret in life, I suppose, is that I never really joined like a fighting club when I was younger. I would think I really needed that. And I think a lot of men need that. And when I say men, you have to understand, like, I'm a 20th century man, like deep down, as an energy being, which is my deepest truth, right? As a spiritual energy being, I know gender is fluid. Gender is fluid. We are liquid beings in the sense that ultimately we are flow state, we are particulated. I don't know what word that would be, but I mean, this body self that we're in, product of all of this memory, as Sadhguru would say, is a dimension of life, but it's a tiny speck of life, and I treasure the speck, and yet I'm aware of the moreness of it, and part of that is knowing that gender is fluid. Not only gender is fluid, but physical reality itself is fluid. And so I do identify as a man. I'm a 20th century man. I was raised in the old paradigm, so I have a certain warrior ethic inside of me that wasn't ever properly allowed to flow. I never allowed it to flow healthily or properly until I began reading, Carlos Castaneda and living those truths, right? And of course, after all these years of learning and teaching and coming to be who I am now, I look back and think, damn it, I really needed to be in a fight club, in order to give a healthy outlet for aggression and energy. Because in a fight club, you are agreeing to fight, You know, that's what it's all about. It's an agreement among fighters, you know, and it's an important and beautiful thing because you're on the same side. Even though you're fighting to get better, you know, and that's something that I've missed in my life. You might wonder, well, why aren't you doing it now? Well, you know, I'm older and I went through a lot of physical pain in my life because physical pain became the manifestation of all of my emotional blockages and problems that I've been talking about. But as I come here to you and share this healing journey, I realize that like my healing is beginning to expand into into something higher. I realize I can feel it. Even as I sit here before you, I can feel it happening, you know, and it's beautiful and good. And I'm happy to be here. I hope that this has got something for you because I am the proof that the work works. Healing is real, you know? And when I say healing, what I'm saying is part of my mantra, which is loving, healing, evolving, dreaming. For me, these are like the gears of life. For me, you know, this is what I've learned. This is my learning, you know? And I guess when I say that, loving, healing, evolving, dreaming, what I mean is that first and foremost, love within. Remember, I've talked about devotion. You've got to be devoted. Find that devotion, wherever it might be. Be in love with your life. Be in love with yourself. And I don't mean that in some shallow, cheap way or some ego way. I mean like feel love in your being and give it into the world around you. You will be amazed by what happens. You know, loving is I don't know. You got to find out for yourself, you know? And again, I'm going to just drop a seed there. This is why I'm a little leery about systems because systems, see, I've said, oh, I love Sadhguru, not sure about the Vedas, you know, Jesus is a beautiful teacher, not sure about Christianity. It's because systems, dogmas, things that we accept that we don't know ourselves, they give us a false certainty because we don't know it inside, you know? And even sometimes systems can intervene in our lives and tell us that we don't deserve to know or can't know unless we adapt these system requirements, right? And that is disempowering, and I disagree. Everything is for us to discover. Everything is for us to learn and grow into ourselves, you know? In whichever dimension you're interested in. That's the thing. Go and do what you want. That is the key. For me, you got to start with loving. It's got to be loving first. So that's the first part of my personal mantra, loving, you know. Be loving. Be loving. Because I can tell you, for most of my life, if not all of it, prior to, you know, the accumulation of damage on me that finally stopped me for good, which is who you meet now. I'm stopped for good. I don't know what else to say about that, except it's got something to do with love. You know, once you're stopped, you can feel love. You're not, you know, caught up in the mind game, you know, and that's a whole other topic. So anyway, loving is first, right? And my rule of thumb is always like, if there's something stopping you from loving yourself for your moment, what's that? What is it? Whatever it is, it's going to be coming from up here, and you must heal that, right? It could be physical pain. It could be discomfort. Honestly, most physical pain and discomfort is the result of bad patterns that come from our minds and our, you know, the broken emotions of traumas, you know, hurts in life that we've experienced, how we adapt, how we respond. These become a shell that we're stuck in. It can be a shell of pain. For me, shell of shame, shell of, you know, all these bad things, right? So that is the substance of healing. Heal it, you know? It's like, think of soft touch. Think of massage. Think of gentle caressing. This is the force of love, you know? So if you're loving and you can't be loving with yourself, be healing. Be healing. Feel that. Be loving. If you can't love, heal. See what I mean? It becomes intangible. Rub that love into those hurt places. Work it out. Find out what happened. It's there. It's there if you genuinely seek healing. You know, if you genuinely want it, it will manifest, right? As I go through this process and I talk to you about it, I realize that like my healing is like my physical healing is getting to a good place. I work every day at this. I work every day at this. And I got some time off right now. And so I've been drawing all of my resources, which I usually put at the disposal of my clients in a devotional sense, I'm giving to myself right now. And so as a result, I'm feeling very, very good. Very, very good. Even though might not look it, I feel very good. In fact, I feel better than I've ever felt in my life. A lot of times people are like, oh, when I was a kid, I remember what I felt like. I don't feel that anymore. Never in my life have I relaxed like I do now. Because when I was young, I was trapped already in a negative response to life as a result of traumas and hurts and confusions and lack of helpful guidance and an inability on my part to ask for help. I think when I was very young, I asked for help, and my poor old parents, they just were clueless and emotionally damaged people. They didn't know what they were doing, and so they could never help me be me. Instead, what I learned was the world was a place that I should never ask any questions of. I can't get any help from it. I don't belong here. All I can do is shut up and just survive and hope that I don't disturb people too much with my awful, wrong, shameful presence. I mean, this is the world that I lived in, but no longer. I only mention it because those are many of the memory routines that will go around in me, and that I work on putting aside. And because all of my mistakes in life, and they are legion, the mistakes that I've made in life, are all one mistake. All one mistake, one root existed in all of those mistakes, was a lack of love within. And therefore, when I stopped at last, loving became healing, and what I've been calling my healing journey. But really, deeper down, I think my journey now is my definitive journey, which is Carlos Castaneda language. It's my definitive journey now. It's a loving journey. It's a healing journey. Also, it's an evolving journey and a dreaming journey. And this here I'm doing with you is that next level for me. I'm evolving personally by talking to you about it because it's important. It's very important to be loving, to be healing. And then when you extend out into the world and you're going to be helping other people, or you're going to be present with other people, that principle has got to still be guiding you. It's always love, and yet it reaches higher dimensions and higher domains, evolving or dreaming. You realize that this life is a dream. It's the dream of the unmanifest. Like it's a piece of dark uncertainty, and yet we are the light of our lives to light up that uncertainty, and I feel that uncertainty draws us out. It allows us to emerge, and that's something I know now, and so it's also why I'm resistant to systems. Carlos Castaneda sums up systems, religious systems. He says, systems will work. Like I say to you, the Vedic system is a beautiful system of knowledge. It is complete in itself, and yet it is a description. It's a cognitive system, and therefore it cannot be what the universe is. I don't care how accurate it thinks it is. It can't be what it is. It helps us. It helps us on the earth. It helps us as beings caught in the picture and the cognitive description of evolution, of the way we look at the universe, everything, all our cells and our atoms, everything that's inside of us, all that karmic memory of all time is alive in us right now. Everything that's lived and evolved in life, everything from the beginning of whatever this universe is inside of us right now. Right now. That is amazing. And to try and say that fits into the little box that any system is going to give to us, I don't know. What I do is I listen. What resonates in me, I live with and work with. And the stuff that seems to me limiting or possibly creating a false certainty, I'm wary of. I'll put a pin in, Anyway, back to Carlos Castaneda. What he says is if you adopt a system, it's going to work for you, but it puts a lien or a mortgage on your being. And I can't remember which book that's in, but it gave me a dark feeling because it's true. If you commit to a system, that system is it's part of your evolution now. It's not you, it's this system, you know? So who are you? What do you know? You know, what do you know inside yourself? You've accepted a bunch of things, you know, a bunch of precepts, dogmas perhaps, teachings, whatever you want to call them, are all well-meaning, right? And yet, what do you know? Do you really know that? Or have you just taken it in and you just believe it, right? Belief is not knowing inside. And I'm for someone who, for whatever reason, I've had to know things in life. So I've gone through terrible hardships and miseries because I'm a seeker. I need to know. And so systems don't satisfy me. In the end, I need to know. Even though systems feed and nourish me, you know. I listen to Sadhguru. I've been studying chakras lately. I'm interested in that because I do find that as I expand my energy being, my experiences do resonate with the chakra system. My experiences they are made sensible when I partake in that energy system, right? And also, you know, in a very limited sense, like Jesus is a teacher. Teaching the devotional path is the first step, you know. I think we in our Western culture, I think our culture is very, very young. And so we're literally learning as we go along, you know. And so, I mean, Jesus was a piece of our history. And that devotional path is something that we have to start with. We must start there, you know, but it's not the end of the road. It's not like, oh, I got Jesus, I'm undone now, it's all over. No, 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 no. Once you understand devotion and being loving inside, that's only the beginning. It is the beginning. It should not be the end. You shouldn't just sit back and go, well, I'm a Christian now, that's all done. It's like, that's a mistake. That's not anything, I feel, in the example of Jesus' teaching. For me, it's like, He's shown a way. Be loving. That's the way. And that's the way I choose to live. That's my choice. And getting there through the terrible wreckage of my life has been the source of a lot of pain. Pain has been the thing that's finally woken me up. Pain was the best teacher in the end, as awful as it was. You know, unfortunately, I was too stupid and too locked up, too unable to address my own emotional problems, my own sense of wrongness. It was a prohibition that was so strong. I couldn't live. I could not live. And I just thank God that God appeared in my life. And what I will say about that is something I've been singing about lately, is that all spiritual practice on our part as individuals is a kind of rising. We lift ourselves up. We reach up. We reach up. And in the act of reaching, higher being comes down to us and meets us. You got to be reaching. You've got to be seeking. I don't necessarily mean you got to be on the spiritual path like me, but whatever you're doing, you've got to be reaching. If you want God to come into your life, and by God, I'm not talking about He or Vishnu or God or whatever the hell, like whatever's in your mind. I'm not talking about ideology. I'm talking about what we don't know, what we do not know, and what we cannot know. That's what I mean when I'm talking about God. When you're reaching beyond what you know. You're reaching beyond what you can know. You are reaching into the mystery of this life with whatever you're bringing. I'm bringing my loving intent. It's my intent to be loving. And then I reach up, and I find every time I reach up, God reaches down to me and makes a connection. And I find this more when I play music, you know. Well, music is the thing where I am vibrating at my highest frequency. It's my energy work, really, is music. Music is a way that I unlock my energy and get higher. And then when I'm coming to talk to you about it in the morning, I'm sort of in this, you know, analytical state, you know. And this too is also important in a way that I can't quite formulate it yet. But I suppose it's a bit of a field of dreams situation. I am building it, and I know that you will come. That's all I got to say about it, is that I'm reaching out, and something's going to happen. And so I'm doing it. And so yeah, I'm all over the map today. But that's okay, because I am allowing this experience to happen to me. I've got my ideas, I got my plans. It's my intent. It's more important than that, you know? And so for example, I talked about making sure that I spend some time with my good friend. You know what I mean? This is an important aspect of life. Make time for things that are important, whatever it might be, you know? Every day, I make sure that I go into the park and I stand in bare feet on the grass, walk on the grass. Why? Well, I know that grounding is important. You know, we are earth beings, you know, we are earth energy beings, you know, and I realize that ultimately we are energy and we are beyond the material. And yet there's a part of us. We are living in this earth realm, in this earth world, and we're earth beings. I'm an earth man, you know? So if we're all earth people, we have to connect to the earth. And honestly, the earth is our only home. And so when I look at our Western society and what it does, how it's denigrating our environment, I think, what is happening? What is happening? You know, I worked many years ago with a guy who was involved in some kind of ecological conferences or something like that. And one time he came away from this and he's just a bit surprised. I'm like, what's going on? He says, you know, the main food producing regions of the earth can feed the world 3 times over already. So there need to be no hunger. No one needs to be hungry because the earth produces more abundance than any of us need, even in our overpopulated state. But of course, it doesn't happen, and there's mass death and hardships and suffering. Why? It's because of the system. It's because of the human system. It's because of our society. It's because of, you know, call it what you will, plutocracy, the rule of evil men, the rule of evil. I don't know, like I'm using a bunch of crazy terms out there, but this is yet another reason why I'm choosing to do this. It's because our world is in a bad place. But to dwell in the badness, it doesn't make any solution, you know? Like I don't really watch any media. I don't have any online, other than this now, I don't really have any online presence because getting involved in that, you just get sucked into it, right? And if you start focusing on negative things, the negative things will drown out all the rest and you'll just be lost. The world will have you. And I can say when I was younger, the world had me. I was totally, because of my own inability to connect with my true being, with my loving being, my loving energy being core, right? I was dislocated from that, and therefore I was always at the mercy of just endless negativeness, just never relaxed, never at ease, always caught up in the world of 1,000 things, right? What's the answer to that? If you can get stopped, you can feel your love and you can begin to moving in as I've been talking about, loving, healing, evolving, dreaming way. And dreaming is, for me, the highest achievement, is when you realize that you're living a dream. This is a dream that we're in. We're the characters in Creator's dream, like whatever you want to call that, you know? It's like, I'm not saying I know anything about it, you know what I mean? What I know is that I don't know. And that is the greatest liberation that I've been given in my life, is knowing that I don't know. And at that point, life is a dream. And of course, just like I said, in terms of, you know, love yourself first, and if there's something in the way, heal. Equally, if you're not living a dream, well, why not? Well, then go back to love. Well, if you're not loving what you're doing, if you're not in love with this dream that you're in, get to love. You know what I'm saying? It all ties in. It just depends what dimension you're living in. You know what I mean? Find that and be the best, completest, most joyful being that you can be in whatever dimension you find yourself in. You know, for me, this is part of what I'm doing. You know, I'm a bit of a guide and I'm a bit of a teacher. You know, and that's just the way it is. So I'm here sharing what I got, and for some reason, it involves being candid about what I've been through and why I know what I do. You know what I mean? Because when I say I know things, it's like silence. It's like stillness. You know, like I come to a place of stillness inside. That is the place where we know things. You know. And It's got nothing to do with the mind. It's got nothing to do with anything about the world or acquisition. Like it's got nothing to do with that. It's something different. And what I can say is that when you begin to sorry, the call was just coming in. So I'm being warned that there's a call coming in, but I'm not going to answer that because I'm here with you. When you begin to feel that love, you must make space in your life to do things which nourish yourself. As I say, time with friends. And when I say friends, I mean like a true friend. Like my friend is a firekeeper, and when I sing in a metaphor, and I'll get to that another time. But like he's someone who I appreciate the fire that he keeps. You know what I mean? And there's something good there that goes on between us, always has been, and it will be until the day that one of us dies, and that's going to be a sad day. But until that time happens, got to honor it by making time and space for it. Make time and space for connecting with the earth. Get on your bare feet, walk in the grass. It's important, Also, make time. Well, for me, I make time for music. You got to make time for things which are uplifting you, whatever it might be. It's something that everyone has got to discover inside themselves, and everyone can discover inside themselves. If there's something in the way, get back to first principles. Get back to that loving. You know what I mean? Whatever it might be. So, and at the end of the day, if you need a system, use a system. If you got to objectify that love inside yourself, like I've got to feel love, like if you need to think that love is out there and that you're loved in order to complete that circuit of you and the world and the universe, be that, do that, use it. You know what I mean? For me, I'm not in the way of that, but it just doesn't work for me. I need to know what I know. I need to experience directly. That's just the person that I am. So that's just the work that I've been doing. And a large part of what I'm doing here is trying to get to that, So, it feels like about what I got to say to you today, I guess another thing's on my mind, like I'll say one last thing about it. It's like the other day I went to play music, and where I live in Victoria. And I go down to this place I call the Gazebo. It's this little green building on a headland. And I played there for years with friends, and sometimes on my own. And these days, I'm making sure that I go down as many times a week as I got the energy to do it. So 3 times a week, I'm going down there to play. And so the last couple times I've been down there, like it's for me, I'm doing it. It's my own, am I soaking in a sahasrar kind of bliss? Is what's happening, in a chakra sense? Am I just leaving my cognitive system behind and just allowing energy to just flow through me? Hard for me to say, but singing gives me some kind of ecstatic experience that I'm just thankful that I get to have. But the last time I went was on Monday. And I'm walking down there, and my mind, like when you get stuck in your mind, it's easy to get caught up in the concerns and worries, what happened and what might happen. You know what I mean? You get disconnected from the moment and from the flow, and flow state is another word that I use to really describe this like loving, healing, evolving, dreaming process that I'm involved with, And so I went down there going like, what do I need to do? What am I doing? Like, what am I doing? Especially here when I'm talking to you in the morning, and I'm like, sometimes I feel like I'm just being boring, or what am I doing? You know what I mean? Because this is all my fears and whatnot, right? And so I went down there, and there was a bunch of young men there, and young Indian men actually, and I said, did they mind if I sat down? And I said, do you mind if I play? And they're all cool with that. And then I began to just go into my ecstatic thing, and they really enjoyed it. They enjoyed it, and they gave me a joint to thank me, and I was like, it was a beautiful moment. And when I'd finished playing, we talked for a while, and I realized that is what this is. I am doing this right now so that you will come and talk to me. I want to talk to you. I want you to talk to me. I'm energized by that process. I want it to happen. And so that is a key intent that I learned from music, is that I'm coming here to talk to you so that you will talk to me. When I sit here talking on my own, I'm in my solitude here, sharing my solitude with you. This is what I'm like. This is what I'm offering, and yet I know that like as I engage, for some reason, there's an energy there. It's an energy there that somehow it's the thing that I'm working on. So it was very, very good and left me with a really, really good feeling. And to have connected to someone, to have reached people, to have given something good to someone else, and to have seen the uplift and the brightness in their eyes, as a result of sharing something special, So that's what this is too, but very much, as I say, first attention, I'm in my mind, I'm talking to you, I'm being as rational as I can be about it. I feel responsible to like lay a very secure base of like, wow, this is good work, you know what I mean? But equally, eventually I'm going to put music on here so that you can experience that other side, because that's the side which gives me the electricity, the soul electricity that I can communicate to you. It is the music experience which triggers the neuroplasticity, changes how I think, changes my memories even, changes my imagination for tomorrow, because it jars me loose from the rigid fixations and allows me to be fluid again, and allows me to be in this moment, and allows me to be authentic with you, which is the whole game for me, because it was that dislocation and blockage which was so unhealthy for me. So I'm going to leave it there for today. Thank you for thank you for letting me do this again for another day. Thank you for whoever's going to listen. Thank you for no one listening. Thank you for allowing me to be here. I'm just at your command, and I'll be here if anyone ever shows up. Until then, be well, and I'll come back next time and talk to you again. Bye.